Don't bother coming. It's family only. You weren't in the will. But Charlotte Hayes was already in the taxi, the message burning in her hand, the phone shaking. She arrived 40 minutes late, the law office a cold glass tower in the midday sun. Inside the lobby, the receptionist didn't look surprised. She looked ready.
You're Charlotte. He told me to send you straight in. Conference room, end of the hall.
Before Charlotte reached the door, the voices inside rose, her mother's sharp edge, her uncle's booming anger.
That inventory is mine, Pamela. You're not getting a cent more than I say.
Charlotte pushed the heavy oak door. The argument died mid-word, her mother's mouth hanging open. The lawyer rose slowly, a quiet command settling over the room.
Ah, Madam Executor, finally. We can begin officially.
The word Executor still hung in the air when Charlotte's memory pulled her backward, to the quiet months before Charles Whitmore fell ill.
I brought that book you wanted, Grandpa. The one with the lighthouse.
Every Thursday after work, she drove across town to read to him until his voice grew tired.
You're the only one who comes without a shopping list, my dear.
His desk calendar held proof. Every Thursday circled in red, a small heart beside the date.
I still have that drawing you made of the treehouse. Best thing you ever gave me.
But while Charlotte filled those afternoons, her mother's visits were measured in birthday cards sent late, her uncles in demands for early inheritance. Charles never spoke of the others when she was there. He saved his words for her.
See you next Thursday, Grandpa? Don't let them change your stories.
She had no idea that her grandfather had already changed his story and written her into its final chapter. 3 days before the will reading, Charlotte's phone rang. Her mother's name burned across the screen.
The reading is tomorrow. It's family only. You're not included.
But Charlotte remembered a call from 3 months earlier. A lawyer named Gregory Channing, whom she'd never met.
Miss Hayes, I must ask you to attend the reading. Your grandfather was very specific.
By the morning of the reading, her phone erupted with demands to stay away. You're not in the will. Don't humiliate yourself.
Why would a lawyer call me unless Grandpa planned something?
She found the old text from Gregory and read it again, then again.
I'll be there. Just tell me the time.
She had no promise, no entitlement, but she had been invited, and that was enough. 40 minutes earlier, the conference room was already a battlefield. A scattered inventory list lay between Pamela Hayes and her brother Brandon, both circling numbers like vultures.
She's 30 minutes late. This is a waste of time. Start the reading without her.
I cannot. The court's instructions are explicit. The executor must be present before the will is read.
Executor? She's not even in the will. We're the heirs, the only ones that matter.
Actually, the executor is named, and her presence is not optional, nor is her consent.
He didn't tell them who. He simply opened a folder and made a quiet note, the violation already logged.
This is ridiculous. We're losing money every second this drags on.
Just show us the documents, Gregory. She doesn't need to be here. She's barely family.
Your early read-through without the executor is already a breach. I'm recording it.
Outside, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Then the heavy oak door swung open. The silence that followed was worse than the shouting. No one breathed.
This is insane. She's not an executor. She's barely a granddaughter.
This is a mistake. The old man wasn't in his right mind.
I assure you this appointment was made 18 months ago when your father was perfectly lucid.
Gregory slid a formal letter of appointment across the polished wood. Charlotte's hand stayed in her lap.
Why me? I never asked for this.
Because he trusted you, and he needed someone he could trust.
The chair at the head of the table was empty. Charlotte lowered herself into it, her gaze never leaving the will. The will lay open on the table, its seal unbroken, the envelope beside it still sealed.
We will now read the last will and testament of Charles Whitmore.
Gregory turned to a marked page. His voice remained level, but the words carved the air.
Clause 7.4. Any heir who attempts to bypass or pressure the executor forfeits their share.
He set down the will and lifted a printed transcript of text messages, dated the day before. Don't bother coming. It's family only. You weren't in the will.
That was a private conversation. You can't use that in court.
It is documented evidence of pressure. Your combined share of 1.4 million reverts to the executor.
He turned another page. Clause 7.5 caught the light. Business share forfeiture, same condition. Pamela's portion of the family business valued at 2.8 million also reverted. Brandon's inventory scattered across the floor. One envelope lay untouched, her name written in a shaky hand.
He planned this. He knew exactly what they would do.
The room's air still vibrated when her memory dragged her 6 weeks backward to a private meeting she never knew about.
Add a forfeiture clause. If they try to cut her out, they get nothing.
That's severe, Charles. Your children will contest it.
They'll contest anything, but I know them. They'll push her, and the clause will stop them cold.
From Charles Whitmore to Gregory Channing, protect Charlotte. The rest will betray her. In the present, Gregory lifted the envelope from the table, its edges worn with age. He placed it in front of her, her name in a hand she'd known since childhood.
Your grandfather asked me to give this to you. Only you.
She picked it up, the paper cool against her fingers. The entire room seemed to hold its breath.
Not here. Not in front of them.
Charlotte slid her finger under the seal, the paper tearing softly. Inside, a worn Polaroid and a note in her grandfather's hand. The photograph stopped her breath. A little girl, 6 years old, dark hair tumbled, asleep against Charles's shoulder.
That's me. The summer he taught me to skip stones.
Beneath the photo, the note, written in the same shaky script as the envelope. You were the only one who came when there was nothing to gain. Take everything. Use it well. Her body folded. The sobs came quiet at first, then shook her whole frame.
She's crying over a photograph. This is a circus.
All that money, and she gets a love letter.
But Charlotte didn't hear them. She heard only her grandfather's voice, steady and sure, reaching across the silence. Pamela and Brandon exchanged a look. They had lost more than money. They had lost the truth of who their father loved.
You can fix this, Charlotte. Override the clause. Be the daughter I raised.
If you don't, we'll sue. We'll drag this through every court in the state.
Charlotte pressed the note to her chest, feeling the ink as if it were still warm.
You sent me a message telling me not to come. I'm here, and you will leave.
The executor has issued a lawful instruction. This meeting is adjourned.
Pamela opened her mouth, but Charlotte's arm was already raised, pointing at the door.
This isn't finished. You'll hear from us.
The door clicked shut. The echo of their anger faded into the wood-paneled silence.
You did what he trusted you to do.
Charlotte sat alone for a long moment, the Polaroid in one hand, the note in the other.
I know this is overwhelming, but you don't have to decide anything today.
They'll sue. They'll never stop.
They can try. The evidence is solid. I'll shield you legally.
Charlotte looked down at the Polaroid, the little girl asleep on the only shoulder that never shrugged her off.
He never wanted anything from me. Not once. I'll take it, all of it, and I'll use it exactly how he asked.
He'd be proud.
She left the office with the note folded against her heart and the Polaroid tucked into her portfolio. Her mother's words, "You weren't in the will," rang false now. She was the will. The fight ahead was coming, but for the first time, Charlotte Hayes was exactly where she was meant to be. That night, her apartment swallowed the last light. Her phone blinked with missed calls from her mother and uncle.
You think you've won? I raised you. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of daughter you are.
This isn't over. We're filing an injunction tomorrow. You'll be buried in legal fees.
She silenced the phone and sat in the dark, the envelope's worn edge still against her palm. Then she felt it, a hard shape sewn into the lining, no bigger than a thumbnail. She tore the lining. A small brass key tumbled into her palm, a bank's logo etched on its head.
He hid one more piece. Grandpa, what else did you know?
The key was heavy, deliberate, like the handwriting she'd known since childhood. She searched the bank's name. 3 blocks from his house. He'd left her one more thing to find.
I'll be there when the doors open.
The bank opened at 9. By 9:05, Charlotte was lowering a safety deposit box onto a wide steel table. The lid swung open on oiled hinges. Inside lay a thick envelope, several ledgers, and a leather-bound notebook. She lifted the letter first. The handwriting was her grandfather's, but the date was only months old. If you're reading this, Charlotte, the forfeiture clause has done its work, but you need to understand why. My children have been embezzling from the business for almost a decade. The evidence is in these ledgers. She opened the ledgers. Page after page of falsified withdrawals, accounts drained, debts hidden.
They weren't just greedy. They were breaking him while he was still alive.
Buried at the bottom of the box was a signed affidavit. Charles had testified to the theft himself. The family business had been bled dry by the very people who now screamed for their inheritance.
He didn't just punish them. He saved me from them.
She closed the box and stood. The evidence of a decade of fraud rested in her hands. As she drove home, a smaller memory surfaced, older but just as sharp. She was 10 years old, saving coins for a school trip to the aquarium.
That's not yours. It's family money. Stop being selfish.
The next morning, the pig sat empty, a crack in its seam. She cried until her grandfather found her.
Some people only see what they can take. You see what you can give. That's the part that lasts.
She had forgotten that afternoon until now, sitting on a park bench with the ledgers beside her.
She was never going to change. None of them were.
The tears she'd once felt for her mother had dried before she was old enough to understand why. The ledgers proved the business had been gutted for years, but her heart had been gutted long before. She had the evidence. She had the will. And now, she had the clarity. 2 days later, a knock came at her apartment. Not a text, not a call, a fist. Charlotte opened the door. Her mother stood in the hallway, mascara smeared, shoulders trembling.
I'm sorry. Please, I'm sick. The doctors say I can't survive without help.
You're not sick, Mom. You lost your inheritance and you're terrified of being poor.
I raised you. I'm your mother. You can't do this.
The piggy bank, the coins, her mother's hand, it had never stopped. I know about the fraud. I have the bank records. You and Brandon drained Grandpa's business for years.
The tears stopped. Her mother's face hardened into something she recognized.
You taught me that asking for help was weakness, so I'm not asking. I'm telling you to leave.
She closed the door. The lock clicked. The muffled rage meant nothing now. By morning, the air in Gregory Channing's office was still. Charlotte sat across from him, the ledgers between them.
You've seen the evidence. The will is clear. But I suspect that isn't what brought you here.
Can I reverse it? The forfeiture? Do I have that power?
You can as executor, but it would void the clause and restore every share they lost.
He put this in my hands because he trusted I'd be strong enough.
Your grandfather expected this moment. That's why the letter was so direct.
He slid a form across the desk, a standard executor's instruction. The box marked "Do not reverse" was already checked.
If I sign this, it's finished. They get nothing.
You don't have to decide today. Once we file this, there's no undoing it.
She didn't pick up the pen, but something in her jaw had already signed. That evening, the ledgers spread across her kitchen table. The numbers were a confession in black and red.
I'm looking at the December withdrawals, Brandon. Over 600,000 in 12 months. Your signature is on every transfer.
You think you're clever? That business was sinking. We planned to liquidate and leave you with nothing. The old man just sped up the clock.
His voice crashed through the speaker. Charlotte's thumb pressed the record icon without a tremble.
Say it again. That you plan to leave me with nothing.
I said we were bleeding it dry, you naive. She wasn't supposed to get a penny. Now you're going to destroy us?
The line clicked dead. The recording timer kept running. She had everything.
That recording will bury him. Not just in court, in every way that matters.
She attached the file to an email for Gregory. Use this. No other words were necessary. The morning light found her still at the table. No guilt. No hesitation. Only the weight of a choice already made. The same conference room, 3 days later. This time, Charlotte sat at the head of the table. Gregory beside her, Pamela and Brandon across from her, silent for once.
You told me I wasn't in the will. You were right. I was never a beneficiary. I was the authority. He left me instructions. You were the only one who came when there was nothing to gain. Take everything, use it well.
So that's it? You're destroying your own family for a dead man's grudge?
This isn't over. We'll sue. By the time we're done, you won't have a cent left for lawyers.
You recorded yourself confessing to embezzlement. I have a decade of financial records. The forfeiture stands.
The executor has made her decision. This meeting is concluded.
Pamela's chair scraped back first. Brandon followed, his threats still bouncing off the wood panels. Charlotte didn't watch them go. She looked at the Polaroid, at the little girl who had no idea what was coming. The war they'd promised had already been fought, and she had won without firing a single shot. The lawsuit Brandon filed landed on Gregory's desk 3 weeks later. He didn't look surprised.
They're contesting the forfeiture on grounds of duress and incapacity. It won't hold.
In the courtroom, he opened a folder that silenced the gallery. First, the text messages, then, the recorded confession. Finally, the ledgers. The judge reviewed the evidence for less than an hour. The ruling was simple. The will stands. The forfeiture is irrevocable. Case dismissed with prejudice.
It's really over.
Your grandfather's will is finally at rest. So is the business. So are you.
She held the Polaroid in the empty courtroom, the weight of the past finally lighter than the paper in her hand. No more appeals. No more threats. Only the future her grandfather had entrusted to her. Within a month, the family business was liquidated. Charlotte sold the inventory, paid off the debts, and closed the doors her grandfather never could. The real estate sold fast. The Whitmore name removed. A clean break.
We'll use the proceeds to fund the Charles Whitmore Memorial Foundation. Every grant will carry his name.
At the launch event, she held an oversized check. The cameras caught her smile, but not the Polaroid inside her blazer.
He wrote, "You were the only one who came when there was nothing to gain. Take everything, use it well. This is me using it well."
That evening, alone, she walked the cemetery path. The Polaroid was in her hand.
I did what you asked, Grandpa. I took it all, and I used it well.
She placed a smooth stone on the headstone, the way he'd taught her when she was small. The foundation's first grant was awarded the following week, a reading program for children who visited their grandparents. And in every child who opened a book because of Charles Whitmore, his last wish lived on. 3 months after the foundation launched, a local news segment ran a profile on Charlotte Hayes. Her mother and uncle watched from a shabby rental. They came on a cold evening, waiting near the event's parking lot while a drizzle turned to hard rain.
You're giving away money to strangers while we can't afford rent. After everything I gave up for you.
You never gave up anything. You just took.
We're family. You can't just leave us in the gutter. What would your grandfather think?
He taught me that real love doesn't take. He taught me that some people only see what they can grab. You lost everything because you never learned that.
She didn't wait for a reply. She walked toward her car, the rain soaking through her trench coat. Behind her, their voices rose into curses, then faded into the sound of water hitting asphalt. She didn't look back. The Polaroid was pressed against her heart, the note still folded beside it. There was nothing left to take from her. She had already given it all away. Months later, the rain was only a memory. Charlotte's apartment held the warm stillness of evening. On the coffee table, the Polaroid lay beside the note. She didn't need to read it anymore. She knew every word.
He saved me from a life of being used. He gave me the power to walk away, and the reason to build something new.
She picked up the note, the paper soft from being unfolded so many times.
Use it well. I'm trying, Grandpa. Every day.
She opened an old photo album, pictures of them together, the years her mother and uncle had missed. She laughed quietly at a picture of him pretending to be a sea monster, her at 7, shrieking with joy. She closed the album and looked out at the city lights. The weight that had lived in her chest for decades was gone. She had taken everything her grandfather gave her, and used it well. The girl who had been told she wasn't included had become the woman who couldn't be excluded. Charlotte adjusted her tan trench coat, the leather portfolio under her arm. There were no more legal battles to fight. She stepped into the warm morning light. The city stretched before her, clean and new. She walked at a steady pace, heels clicking on pavement. The Polaroid rested in her pocket. Her apartment sat quiet behind her, the note and photo resting on the table. Dust motes danced in the sunbeam. By the corner, she merged with the crowd, moving among strangers, unhurried and free. The day ahead held nothing but possibility, and the foundation she had built in his name. At the crosswalk, she paused, looked up at the sky, and smiled. No one could take this peace from her. The light changed. Charlotte Hayes walked on, her trench coat billowing behind her. She had taken everything her grandfather gave her, and used it well. The frame held her silhouette against the sun, then slowly faded to white.